So let's dive in. I did want to quickly stop and say thank you for taking the time to join the call today and learn about Tableau and its product release. I know you all have a very limited amount of time, and we really appreciate your curiosity about our products and the opportunity to collaborate with you and get your feedback and incorporate them into our products. So thank you for joining the call and participating today. With that, this is the forward-looking statement slide. For this call, the forward-looking statement slide is very real. Please know that we will be talking about features that are not already released in the product, and occasionally features that do have a tendency to move around. Sometimes go out into future releases. I've definitely seen that happen. Please do not make any investment decisions based on any of the information you see on today's call. Just know that we are going to do our best to make sure to represent when things are coming out soon, or whether things are farther out. But things do have a tendency to change. So thank you for understanding that. So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll do our introductions of our hosts. We'll cover off on a couple community updates of things that are going on that you should know about. Then we'll talk about 2025.1. The product updates that you're going to see, the good stuff that everyone signed up for here. And then we're going to cover off on a couple of things called things we didn't have time to talk about, because there's a whole bunch of features in this release in 25.1, and we're not going to have time to talk about them all in depth on the call, but we want to make sure that you're aware of what those are. So with that, I am going to introduce my co-host. First, I am Britt Staniar. I'm on the community team here at Tableau. I've worked here for almost 8 years. Just a complete pleasure supporting all of you all and helping you all learn about our product and connect with our product managers. It's definitely one of the things that I truly am a believer that our product is way better because of the feedback and input of our community, helping us get better every single day. So thank you to all of you for contributing and helping us make Tableau better. With that, I'll introduce Shauna.
Thanks, Britt. Hi, guys. I'm Shauna. I'm a PMM at Tableau in charge of releases and launches. I'm super excited to have the chance to get in front of you guys, hear from all of you, get to know the community. So thank you so much for joining us today.
And also Brittany. We made it confusing by having a Britt and a Brittany on today's call. Brittany, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Brittany. I'm a Tableau visionary. I've been using Tableau since 2019 across a variety of roles. Right now, looking forward to conference because I'll be running the Tableau conference step tracker again this year. So that's my subtle plug for whether you're in person or virtual. Look out for that community project.
Log your steps, all those steps around San Diego's Gaslamp District. Okay, well, let's keep going. Now we're going to drop those community updates that I told you about, opportunities to connect, learn, and get inspired with the Data Fam. The first one goes to Shauna Goldman.
Awesome. So TC is coming back to San Diego for the best event in data. So we're super excited to see all of you there. Last year was my first TC, so I'm excited to go again this year myself. We're going to have all the things that the community loves. We're going to have Iron Viz, Tableau Public Viz Gallery, the Vizzies, community meetups, and even more community created sessions than we had last year. So just like today, we're going to have tons of opportunities for you to learn about Tableau's current offerings, and we'll also have some opportunities for you to learn more about the next generation platform and get hands-on experience with it. So you're going to want to register now to make sure that you get that best price, because it looks like you can save $600 if you register today.
Thank you for plugging that. Shauna, definitely come to Tableau Conference. It's going to be the best event in data. I cannot wait. And definitely say hi to us there. We will be I will be around in Data Village. So look forward to seeing you there. And of course, if you're excited for Tableau Conference, you're in the right place. Our next call in this user group will be on Tableau Conference. So we're going to be giving you all the inside track on the layout of Tableau Conference and all the different opportunities to connect at Tableau Conference, both in person or virtually. We'll share about best practices for things to do there. Sarah Bartlett will be joining the morning call. Alex will be joining the APAC call in the evening my time, or 4 p.m. my time. So be sure to join and check that out and get behind the scenes on Tableau Conference and get some best practices on what to do with that. And those pages are already live on our website. So with that, I'm going to hand this slide off to Brittany.
And while I'm excited for Tableau Conference, that only comes once a year. So to get you excited for the rest of the year, just keep your data skills up, meet with other people. Definitely check out the upcoming Tableau user groups. There's lots of virtual ones where you'll probably find me lurking often, but I'm also excited to see in-person ones starting to get more popular. If this is your first time, there's hundreds out there. There's industry-specific ones, product-specific user groups, community of belonging user groups like Data Pride, the Asia Pacific Islander user group. Lots of different opportunities to connect and learn about Tableau. There's 96 events on the calendar now. That number is only going to go up and to the right, so make sure to check out usergroups.tableau.com and sign up for a bunch of stuff. Also, sign up for ones even if you can't attend, because you'll get the email that will have like recordings and stuff. So,
absolutely. And thank you to all of our community leaders, our visionaries and ambassadors and user group leaders who do so much to support events like these user groups. It's mind-boggling that the events on this list are just over the next couple of days. I mean, I started going through the list of events to pull out, and I was like, I can't pick favorites. I'm just going to do the next 5 user group events. I've got to make sure that we're promoting them. I mean, the content is just phenomenal. So be sure to check out our user groups and find an event you're interested in and attend. With that, this is our list of 2025.1 features. The features we're covering today are highlighted in yellow on this list. As you can see, it's just a thin sliver of all of the great stuff on the list. So we will be having additional calls over the next months. Our April call will probably circle back on some areas of the product that we didn't get to cover today. I was thinking maybe the data modeling layer, maybe a little bit in Tableau Prep. So I'm still working on those details. If there's somewhere you want me to dig in on this list of features in an upcoming call, let me know. I just drop your message in the chat there. I'm happy to sort of work to find a product manager on one of these areas who wants to join and present. But as I should note, there are more than 20 ideas in this release that have come from Tableau ideas in either the community forums or ideas. So thank you for submitting your ideas in and sharing them with us here at Tableau. We do look at those ideas and review them and respond to them. So thank you for sharing these ideas. I also want to note on that thread that we have recently changed platforms to gather those ideas from all of you. We are transitioning to the Salesforce Idea Exchange. It is an awesome new platform. It is just like the old ideas section of the Tableau forums. It lets you to submit an idea to Tableau whenever you want to, and it lets you browse ideas and follow really cool new capabilities to follow an idea you like and get updated on that idea. And then you can also participate in a prioritization process where they put the ideas up for you to vote on and assign sort of a coin-based prioritization process. So really exciting stuff there. All of the ideas that are on the Tableau forums will be migrated over to the new Salesforce Idea Exchange. So, but the Idea Exchange is open. Please jump in and start submitting your ideas there. We're excited to see them. It's at ideas.salesforce.com. With that, we can jump in to today's content. Swetha, thank you for joining the call and sharing about Tableau Agent. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen. You should all be able to see my screen now. Hello, everyone. Swetha Bezawada, one of the product managers working on Tableau Agent, and really happy to be here, this part of this preview call, showcasing all the new goodies that are coming your way, and of course, looking forward to your feedback as well. As you might know, Tableau Agent is an AI assistant that helps users analyze data, build visualizations, and generate insights. We went GA mid of last year, and we've been extensively listening to our customers, feedback from the community as we refine and expand the skill set of Tableau Agent. The investments that we've made can broadly be classified into three broad pillars. One, deeper integration into Tableau platform, agent for the business viewer, and of course, improved productivity gains for our analyst. So with that, with respect to pillar one, deeper integration into the Tableau platform, happy to announce that as a part of this 25.1 release, agent is now available on desktop. We've heard it loud and clear from our analyst community that you prefer Tableau desktop when it comes to creating new dashboards or even doing ad hoc analysis. So Tableau Agent will now be available on desktop to help you with creating your custom calculations, rendering quizzes, or even suggesting questions to dig deeper into your data. Know that Tableau Agent is a part of the Tableau Plus SKU. So once you've downloaded the latest build of Tableau desktop, make sure you're connected to a cloud site that has agent enabled, and you should be able to engage with agent with no additional settings necessary. You might have also already seen suggestions at play in Tableau Agent. Suggested questions are these AI-powered recommendations that help users explore their data by offering relevant, insightful queries based on the current context. As a part of this release, we are also expanding the scope of these suggested questions to account for calculations created, meaning Tableau Agent will now suggest questions that leverage the custom calculations that you've built out to uncover deeper insights and relationships within your data. Additionally, if a visualization fails to render, Agent will offer alternate suggested questions based on whatever you've requested, guiding users towards insights even when the initial ask or the utterance did not go through. And again, for this feature, no specific site settings are required. Another feature also coming as a part of this release is the multilingual agent support. Meaning, if you take a step back and look at agent today, even if your user settings is in a different language other than English, agent's responses will always be in English. With this multilingual support, we are now supporting conversational analytics to support French, Italian, German, Spanish, Portuguese, and so on, offering a more consistent user experience. With that, I will show you a quick demo of these features at play. The agent is now available on desktop. So analysts who prefer using Tableau desktop when creating new dashboards from scratch, making major changes to a published dashboard, or doing ad hoc analysis can now use Tableau Agent to create quizzes and calculated fields in desktop. So I have on my screen here the latest build of Tableau desktop that I've downloaded, and I've already connected to the cloud site from the server option up top. Once connected, you should see the agent icon activated on the worksheet. Select the generative AI advisory statement, and you can start engaging with Tableau Agent. Here, I've asked agent to create a calc to classify orders based on the order purchase date into a first purchase or a repeat purchase. And agent has written an LOD calc that'll do just the job. So selecting apply, you can see the data schemas updated with the new calc that it just created. Another feature we discussed earlier was the follow-up suggestions. So after creating or modifying a calculation using Tableau Agent will also suggest calculations on how you can leverage these pre-built or calcs built in the prior step for downstream analysis. So in this case, it suggested questions along what is the trend of the first purchase and repeat orders over time, or what have you. Agent also will suggest these questions in cases where agent is not able to render a valid quiz. Another feature coming as part of this release is localization, multilingual agent support. So agent today will respond in English, even if your site settings are set in, let's say, other languages like German or Korean. And you can ask your question in these different languages, but the responses from agent will always be in English. So coming as a part of this release, we now support conversational analytics in French, Italian, German, Spanish, Japanese, and Portuguese, offering a more consistent user experience. You can change the language settings from the help menu on the desktop option here, or I'm going to show this in clouds settings, where you could go to the user cloud site, where you can go to the user settings and change your language of your choice. I've already set this to Italian and saved the settings. So when I've spin up a new workbook, and you can see the welcome response from agent is in Italian. And I'm now going to ask agent a question. In Italian, which translates to what are my underperforming subcategories, and you should see agent respond in the said language as well. A note here that these languages chosen are based on the languages supported by our trust layer. The trust layer, as you know, is the robust set of features and guardrails that we have to protect the privacy and security of your data and ensure safe, responsible use of AI. With the trust layer, you get features like toxicity detection, zero data retention, and so on. So the languages that we support today as a part of this release are dependent on the languages that are supported at the trust layer. Thank you.
Awesome. So with that, I just have a sneak peek into a couple more features. Of course, I'm able to...
The agent is now available.
There we go. So with that, here's a sneak peek into a couple more features that are coming in the April-May timeframe. Now, going back to our 3 broad investment pillars, we've discussed a deeper integration with Tableau platform. This feature, Tableau Agent in Dashboard, focuses more on the business user persona. Now, taking a step back, complex dashboards with multiple visualizations and intricate data relationships are overwhelming to viewers, and it makes it difficult to synthesize what the key takeaways are and help them and essentially take away what the underlying narrative is. Tableau Agent enabling the business user has come up in multiple customer conversations, and I'm really happy to say that this skill is coming out in the April-May timeframe. So Tableau viewers today can go into Tableau Agent in dashboards, request agent for a summary of what the dashboard insights are, and a narrative detailing the key trends, what the spikes are, or what the outliers are summarized and provided to the business user, enabling a more faster and effective understanding of data. Another skill also coming in the same April-May timeframe on cloud is this third pillar of analyst productivity. So customers today need to manually decompose a complex task into the required intermediate steps needed to get to their insight. So an example today would be if a user wanted to get to the running total of sales, they cannot directly ask this question. They would have to break this down into create a calc to compute running total of sales. Show me running total of sales over time. What is being delivered as a part of this skill improvements is agent will automatically reason on the task, decompose it into the required intermediate steps. If it involves creating calculations, it will surface the proposed plans, get the approval from the user, and then go about executing it. So I have a quick demo on that as well that I'll quickly step through. But here I'm asking agent to how does the order volume change across weekends versus weekdays? Again, this is a field that does not exist in my data source. Agent has come back with a plan to say, yeah, this is how I'm going to go about executing or answering this request. Upon approval from the user, agent goes about rendering or creating the intermediate steps. You can expand to look at the underlying intermediate calc, and you get the response from the viewer. I know I've taken up my 10 minutes of time, so I'll stop here and see if the users, any of you have any questions.
Question from Frederick about whether the button still shows up at the top if you don't have Tableau Plus.
It shouldn't. It should be disabled.
I don't see any additional questions. I do have a question of my own, but Brittany, is there a question I missed?
No, you didn't miss a question, but one that was asked earlier, which I think was a good one, because I also want to know the answer, is, let's say I'm analyzing a data set that's got my customer names, and I use Tableau Agent to, analyze that data. Where does that information about my customer names go? Like, is that data secured, or is that going somewhere in the cloud where other people could have access to it?
There are a couple of factors at play here. Know that I did speak about the Einstein trust layer when I was discussing the multilingual feature. So by default, PII data like company names, usernames are masked. And the second thing is because in all of the traffic to Tableau agent is being routed again to the Einstein trust layer, there is also zero data retention. That's a guarantee. That's a trust layer that's being provided by Salesforce. So any of the data to and from these LLMs are forgotten immediately. So there are a couple of different factors at play.
Cool, thanks.
I have a question too, Swetha. I'm curious about the Tableau agent in dashboard experience. Will that look like an object you bring out into the dashboard, or what will that look like? Can you give us a little teaser on that? I'm just very curious.
Hunter would be a great person to answer this question,
Okay,
but I'll answer it on his behalf. So it would be similar to what you see on the worksheets right now, but you would have an agent that on the right side of your pane where you could ask agent for, hey, help me understand what's going on in this dashboard. And we'll expand upon that as the experience of that will be expanded upon as well.
Very good. I'm excited to see that. I think it seems like a really cool feature. So I'm glad to hear that is in the works. All right. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to now introduce Christina, who's going to present about Tableau Pulse and the roadmap for Tableau Pulse. Christina, thank you so much for joining.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Christina Obry. I lead the Tableau Pulse product management team. And as you know, Tableau Pulse released about a year ago, and it's really targeting a business user. So not the analysts that we traditionally been targeting, but really users that don't necessarily always go to dashboards or not necessarily always understand all of the information that are on dashboards. And really what we're emphasizing on is making sure that we can bring personalized, contextual, and intelligent information to that kind of user crowd. So with that, we are ensuring that they can follow metrics that matter to them, that we're meeting them in the flow of work, and then obviously everything is AI infused to make sure that we have intelligent information for them. So I just wanted to recap a little bit of that. Before I'm going into kind of the features that we've recently released and are coming soon, I wanted to talk a little bit more about those investment categorizations that we're seeing. So first of all, for those business users, what's really important is that we gain their attention. And then once we have the attention, we really make sure that we're focusing around the information that's important. So that's the first kind of categorization that we're looking at investing in. Now, once we have the focus of them, we really need to make sure that they have the ability to understand what's going on. And with that, what we're aiming for is really providing relevant and intuitive insights for that specific user crowd of those business users, really emphasizing on natural language explanation, on Q&A capabilities, and making it very easy to understand. Again, assuming that their data understanding isn't as deeply as we have for some of the analysts. And last but not least, for that business user, we really want to make sure that they can take action and collaborate over what they've just found out. So those first three things that you see are really for the business user, an end-to-end workflow from understanding and acting on their data. Now, we also know that none of those business users get any information unless we have the analyst community empower that business user experience. So the pillar that you see at the bottom there is really for us to focus on how do we aid the rollout to a larger audience? How do we make it easy for analysts to roll out information, streamline that, making sure that we have enough governance around these things is the last bucket of investment criteria that we have. Now, I have examples of each of these, of some of the features that you've seen. Pulse is a little bit different to regular Tableau, meaning we are updating frequently. As often as every 2 weeks or once a month, you're going to continuously see features available. So some of the features that I'm talking about here, you may have already seen if you're an active Pulse users. Some of them are going to come out shortly. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's indication on the slides on the status of each of those. So the first thing that we've done really for those business users, we've seen a lot of uptake on the mobile app. So we improved the Pulse experience on the mobile app significantly, making sure that you have a really good overview to start with on all of your metrics. As part of that overview, we also enhanced the dynamic sorting and grouping. Now, the first thing that's really important to say here is that sorting and grouping is available to all licenses. That didn't always used to be the case, but we heard you loud and clear that that is something that needs to be available for everybody. So we made that shift recently as well. And we added additional grouping, for example, for timeframes in there. Now, for the things that are upcoming, one of the big ones is the ability for you to change the digest time on a per site basis. This is going to be important specifically for customers that aren't in the North American timeline, and for you to make sure that your business users are getting the information in the digest in the morning when they start their work. And the last bucket is the introduction and the first set of alerting that we're going to see, and those are insight-driven alerts. So we're really looking at the insights. Imagine your sales are going up and all of a sudden they're trending downwards, and we detected that change. We're going to start alerting you as part of the digest and the web experience as well. Now, when we're looking at the area of really understanding what's going on, the really big investment that we recently did is that we now support all of the languages that Tableau Cloud supports, and making sure that insights are understandable no matter where you are. We also enhance some of the insights that we have and really making sure that insights are quickly and intuitive to grasp. So one of those examples is that we're adding now the period over period change directly into the breakdown chart, which really makes you see quickly of who's, for example, out of band and who you need to focus on. And the thing that's coming up soon is going to be an enhanced Q&A experience that allows you to synthesize across metrics. Now, that will be available for Tableau Plus only, and it is Gen AI infused. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I'll have a demo of that in just a little bit. Now, the last thing for the business users, as we said, is to take actions. The first kind of set of actions that we've recently done is the ability for you to drill in a bit deeper into those visualizations that we have. And then the other one is for analysts to specify additional information and links to more relevant information. So for example, if you have a dashboard that is containing additional information that you're wanting to potentially link somebody to if they have more questions, if you're wanting to link them to an external system, you can now do that as well. In the last category, as I said, it's really important for those analysts to make sure that everything is streamlined and controlled. So we are starting, or we started recently, to roll out dynamic data source goals. These are going to be goals that are coming directly out of your data source. They're part of the metric definition, and they're going to be reflecting any of the role level security from a goal perspective, as well as any of the filters, making them highly dynamic itself. And then the last thing that you're going to see soon is the ability for you to control over who can actually create a metric definition. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow you to build more of that trust on top, because you know that the metrics that were only created from a subset of people. Now, before I'm going to go and show you an exciting demo, I wanted to do a plug. As I said, we are updating as often as every 2 weeks with information. There is a blog available to stay up to date on Tableau Pulse new features, and that will be updated every time we are doing a release. Our social channels are also good ways to kind of stay up to date. And with that said, I'm going to stop sharing this screen and share another one. And do me a favor, if you don't hear the audio, please yell up immediately. And I hope you enjoy the demo. So let me show you some of the recently released and soon to be coming features of Tableau Pulse. For this specific demo, I'm an executive in pharmaceutical sales, and having data and insights available to me on the mobile device has been a game changer. So I'm opening the Tableau mobile app here, and I can see all of the metrics that I'm following in one go. We can see a summary that tells me about my positions and how my hiring is going, which isn't really good, but also the prescriptions and market shares in here. Now, as I'm scrolling down and looking at my homepage, I, by the way, really love the new design and the condensed way that the metrics are allowing me to see everything in one go. However, you can see my metrics are kind of mingled in together based on how I follow them. Let me quickly change the order and organize my homepage a little bit. So I'm going to actually sort that by the data source, but I could also go time ranges as well as metric definitions. But data source does a logical separation on the things that I'm following. So right now, I'm not wanting to focus too much into my HR workflows. I'm really wanting to look at my sales and the market shares. We can see here we get an option to explore a little bit more. Well, let's try that out. So what happened this month compared to previous months? Let's look at those two metrics together. We're introducing here what we call a new enhanced Q&A experience that allows you to discover your data and metrics that belonging together. So we can see here that we've been brought in, and it tells us that we increased our prescriptions. That's really good, but the market share remains stable. We can also see from a trust perspective which are the metrics that were brought in. And we see more suggestions. So let's have a look at the additional suggestions. All of this is generated using LLM to really guide us through. Now, these are kind of not the questions that I have right now with regards to my data. Well, that's okay. We can also ask our own questions. Did we see an increase in market share in the same states that we saw an increase in prescriptions? You can see I can bring in my natural language and dictated question. And even though it didn't quite understand what I meant with market shares, we're able to question the insights that we have. And it comes back with a natural language explanation. And no, there isn't really a relationship. We see different market shares increase and different states that we see in the prescriptions. That is interesting. Now, I got more questions. Tell me more about the prescriptions and maybe which type of prescriptions we had and what providers have contributed. Again, we can see an information and really good summary about our prescriptions. And we can see here that we have refills that contributed the most, as well as the new prescriptions that I've added, also 4 million. Now, you can see that each of these information is actually brought to with some references. So as I'm clicking here on a reference, I can actually really see of where that information comes from. That gains my trust. So I can see that it comes from the prescriptions and I can see the information on the refills. Now, I'm going to dive into this a little bit more and I'm going to go into the Insight Inspiration page just by clicking on the screen here. Now, here I can see that we are 90 to almost 93% of our goal. We have a few days left, which is great. And hopefully we can do this. But let's follow up and look at the breakdown. Well, now here in the breakdown, even though we see, remember, refills contributed the most, they're actually behind in the months-over-months comparison for the sales. And having that information readily available in those breakdown charts is really, really crucial. Now, I'm wanting to dive there into a little bit deeper. So let me click on refills and navigate down. And that drill functionality makes it very easy. So we see we're actually further away on the goal. Those goal values now, they're coming out of the data source and they're dynamically, as we're adjusting the metrics and the filters, will tell me how we're doing. Now, again, let's have a look at the breakdown charts, the sales representative, and see Paul is probably the reason why we're not doing so well. So I'm going to go and first of all, follow this metric because I want to stay up to date. And I'm going to start contacting Paul to see what he's going to do to make his sales. Hope you enjoyed the demo. So let me show any questions.
Thank you for doing that, Christina. I love the drill down and seeing the goals and tracking the metrics of the goals. Brittany, am I missing any questions in the chat? I don't think I've seen anything, right?
No, it's kind of quiet.
Quiet in the chat. Well, don't be shy, everyone. We're here to we're here to answer your questions. And I agree, Frederick. Pulse is getting better. I am tracking my goals to Tableau conference attendees in my Pulse metric. So you better believe it. I look at it every morning on my my Slack notifications. It's pretty cool to see it. So thank you, Christina, for the great presentation. We will keep going and get Joe Chirilov to jump in and present about BizQL data service.
All right. Hello, everybody. Confirm that you can hear me okay. All right. So, hi, Tableau community. How's it going? I'm Joe Chirilov. I'm a director of product management here at Tableau. I'm super excited to talk to you today about what I think is a real groundbreaking new feature for Tableau. And I think it may change the way you think about Tableau as an analytics platform. That new feature is the BizQL data service, and it's an API that enables your custom apps to have direct access to the data that you've modeled inside your published data sources. So yes, it's an API, it's a developer feature, it's a bit more on the geeky side, but I don't think you have to be a developer to really grok the value that this API brings to the table. And let me say a little bit about that. So as I'm sure you know, the published data source is kind of like the place where you imbue your raw data with business meaning. So I'm talking about your various different data connections and the relationships that you establish between them, the calculations that you build on top, the hierarchies, the groupings, aliasing, all that good stuff. You model all of this complexity in a published data source so that your downstream users don't have to do all that messy stuff, right? They just have to worry about dragging those pills onto shelves. And then Tableau is doing the heavy lifting of figuring out how to turn those pills into the appropriate SQL query. That is the key magic of Tableau's BizQL. Now, until today, those data models that you've spent all this energy building have been in kind of a walled garden, available only to Tableau workbooks and more recently to the amazing Pulse feature that Christina just talked about. But now, BizQL data service breaks that boundary a little bit and allows any custom application to take advantage of all of that business modeling that's captured within your published data source. Why bother figuring out how to build an app that writes the correct SQL query to plug into your application when you could leverage Tableau to do the same thing for you? And if you want to ensure that the numbers that show up in your custom app are consistent with the numbers that show up in your Tableau dashboards, BizQL Data Service is the right answer for you. So let me walk through a simple example here. We've got here a fairly basic crosstab. So let me just fill this out here. So you can see we're looking at the sum of sales, and that's further broken out by category and by year and by month. Now, let's say I want to build an automated process that runs on a schedule, and on this schedule, I'm sending a CSV copy of data just like this to my CEO because, you know, she's had a really hard time of letting go of spreadsheets, let's say. Now, I could go build code that queries the same backend system that Tableau's doing itself and try to figure out the right SQL joins and calculations and such. Or I could just go through BizQL Data Service instead. Now, I don't have enough time to like build this app and show you a CSV being sent to a CEO, mythical CEO. But what I'll do is I'll show you what the API looks like in Postman. And if you aren't familiar with Postman, it's a great testing environment so you can see, you know, how to call an API and what kind of data it returns. So in my VDS query, I simply tell it which data source I'm interested in and what fields I care about. It's kind of like the API version of putting pills on shelves. And you see here, I'm asking for the same things that you just saw in my worksheet a second ago, right? So sum of sales, by category, by year, and by month. And when I run that query, I get a result, a response back in a JSON format that matches exactly what we were seeing in Tableau a second ago. So just to quickly spot check, you know, furniture sales for 2020 in January were 6308. If I hop back here real quick, furniture sales in 2020, January 6308. So we see it's a programmatic way of getting at the same data you'd have inside of your dashboards. Now, there's more that you can do with the VSQL data service. So here's another example. I have the exact same query that we just executed, but this time I'm adding filter conditions on top. So I'm reducing the data that is returned. I'm just looking at values in the East region, and I'm looking for discounts greater than 50%. And I try this query, and you see it's coming back and giving me something slightly different. So you can imagine how you would take output like this. Going back to my scenario around the CEO, you call this API, it gives you back this JSON payload with a little bit of extra coding. You can convert that into a CSV and ship that off to your CEO customer. Now, unfortunately for today, I don't have time to show you all of the capabilities within VDS, but we will be adding VDS to the existing Tableau API Postman collection, which is freely available online, as I'm sure you know, and you'll be able there to see a lot more examples of what it can do. Switching back here. Okay, so lots of different ways you can imagine leveraging this API. How do you think you guys might use it? Maybe you'll use it to build even more integrated embedding experiences. And with VDS, you have total control of the visual output of within your application. So not only can you continue to display embedded sheets and metrics as before, but you can also use VDS queries to feed custom UI components in your app, like these colored dollar signs or these little dollar markers down here in this mock-up example. Or perhaps you'll use it to build custom agentic chat experiences inside your app. Your AI agents, you're probably using off-the-shelf components, maybe like LangChain, stuff like that. Can be built to query your trusted data in your published data sources via VDS, that you can build AI experiences that deliver accurate answers to your user base. So many more possibilities. We can't cover it all today. But I'm forward to seeing what exciting things you guys figure out to build with this VSQL data service. And if you want to learn more, the QR code here on this slide takes you to our API documentation, which will be updated here imminently with the release of 25.1. And that's what I have for today. Thank you all, and I'm happy to take any questions if we have any.
What, Joe? Points an LLM at VSQL data service, and all of a sudden it can answer any of my questions. That's pretty sweet. We have some questions here. One from Frederick. Right, Brittany, keep me honest here.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So who can use the service? Is it anyone with a creator license? And kind of tied to that, like the governance of it. So like how can Tableau admins control who has access to this service?
Great question. And there's I think a couple different sub questions in there. One thing I didn't mention that's worth bringing up now is that in terms of availability, this feature is in all flavors of Tableau. So you don't need to have like Enterprise or Plus SKU. This exists in both cloud as well as server on-prem. So our server customers get the new capabilities as well. In terms of like what kind of license can access the API, it is no different if you're already doing any REST API development with Tableau. It snaps directly into that model. So there's no restriction. It doesn't have to be only a creator license can access it. Anyone that has been granted, if you have what we call a PAT, a personal access token, or any other various different ways of opening up access to APIs to Tableau, should be able to get in and query against VDS. Now that said, with an eye towards governance, we did add a new permission capability on top of data sources. So when you go to permission, like the permissions dialog for data sources, you see like, do you have view, do you have query, do you have download access? We have a new category called API, and that basically is what allows or denies you the ability to access that data source via the API. That is a net new feature that ships with VDS.
Nice. So basically, like, I don't have to have a creator license to be able to access this, but the data source that I want to access needs to have that API access enabled.
For your viewer account. Yeah, that's correct.
Cool.
And you need to get a site admin to issue you a personal
The
access, right? Just
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Well, you preemptively answered the other question, which was, is this only available on cloud or can you use it on server too?
Well done, Joe.
It's in all the tableaus.
Just getting it all in there. Okay, well, I think
Yeah.
that covers it for the questions. I really appreciate your presentation, Joe, and I also love that you got Flexi, the T-Rex, in your QR code. So bonus points for you, appealing to all the data devs out there. Thank you for joining the call, Joe. We are now going to go to that section of the call that I so eloquently named stuff we didn't have time to talk about, what you should probably know about. And yeah, so we're going to talk about it now. So I'm going to share my screen, the inside track on product call. We're going to jump forward here a little bit. Sorry, everyone. I just realized I didn't quite jump forward to the new slides. So stand by. As a reminder, there were a lot of things in this call. And we were talking with Brittany and we were saying, like, how do we want to handle this? And we said, let's just do a snake draft of the features where Brittany gets to pick first because she's the guest. And we say, what's your favorite feature, Brittany? And then Shauna will pick her favorite feature and I'll go last since I'm planning the call. And so we did that twice. And so we get 6 features that we want to highlight to all of you to make sure you check out in 2025.1. Brittany, should we do a drum roll for the first for your first feature here?
Yes, I'm so excited for this feature.
All right, here we go.
Da-da-da.
There we go.
Custom themes. Anyone who's spent any amount of time around me knows how annoyed I get with formatting. This saves a lot of that annoyance. So if you've watched Iron Viz, you'll notice that the first 2, 3, 4 minutes is everyone going format workbook, grid lines off, and all those fun settings. Now, instead of having to manually do that every single time, whether it's to do your own style or adhere to your company's brand standards, you can define a file that has those settings pre-saved and just load that into your Tableau workbook. So no more needing to manually edit tons of defaults. No need to have like a template dashboard just to have your styles saved. This is going to streamline a lot of that and make it easy to switch between styles when you're designing.
Amazing. All right, I am pumped for that too. I think we're going to get Rob Thomas on this call soon to share and maybe give us a walkthrough of the product and the roadmap, I think, soon. All right, with that, we will go to Shauna for your feature, and I'll do a finger drum roll for you.
Oh, thank you. So one of my favorites is the Tableau Cloud release preview site. So this is a really cool feature where admins can essentially stay ahead of future releases. So you can set up this site where you get hands-on with these different changes before they actually go live. So you'll see all the new updates and how they impact your unique business before it's actually on live and in action.
Amazing. All right. Love it. And I can't wait to be living on the next generation of Tableau Cloud in my personal Tableau Cloud in the near future. So that's a cool feature. With that, I get to do my personal choice, and I picked the logical table data source filter. Samantha Batchelor mentioned this earlier as her favorite feature that she's looking forward to, and I'm just glad that we're on the same wavelength, Samantha. I think that I'll never forget the first time I learned about what a data source filter was, and it made my life so much better by being able to limit the data source down to just the amount of data I wanted to analyze, and sped up the entire thing just exponentially for me. Logical table data source filter takes that to the next level with these big, complicated, multi-fact relationships that we have these days. And lets you limit each one of those tables down to the exact right slice of data you need. to do your querying and get your performance. So super excited to see this feature come to life. And this one is being driven by Thomas Nahn and his team, and big things coming from the data source team. And we will definitely make sure that we get Thomas on a future call to maybe share about this and other features in Tableau data modeling soon. So that is our first round. Round one features are complete. Get ready for the round two. The second top three, maybe the top 4, 5, 6. Brittany, I am gonna hit the button. Here we go.
Now, this might be something that seems small, but I think we've all gone through the painful rite of passage where either one of us or one of our coworkers has deleted something from Tableau Cloud, from Tableau Server, and then asked, hey, how do I get this back? Only to realize that you can't. Thankfully, those days of pain are going to be over. There's going to be a recycle bin, which means that if you delete your super cool dashboard that finance needs to report the numbers to the board, you can go back and undelete it, and you don't have to even bug your server admin to go bring it back. So sounds like if you delete something, it'll stay in a little recycle bin for 30 days, and you can get it back from that. After that, back to the olden days. But I'm really excited for this to roll out.
Rebuild 30 days, a 30-day grace period. I feel like that's good. If you haven't looked at it in 30 days, if you haven't rescued it in 30 days, it's got to go.
Yep.
It's definitely got to go. All right, Shauna, it's your turn here. We'll go to your second favorite feature. Here it goes.
Perfect. All right, another feature I want to shout out is the expanded extract refresh permission. So with this, you're able to refresh the data even if you don't actually own that workbook. So say you're working on analyzing what's going on in your business, the person who actually owns that data source is out of office, they're not available. So ordinarily you wouldn't be able to refresh and get that latest and greatest. But now with that expanded extract refresh permissions, you have the ability to refresh the data regardless of who's in office, who's available. You don't have to wait for them to come back or worry about changing ownership. You have all the tools to make sure that you have the most recent data. So I think that's going to be a really helpful tool for everyone to have too.
Sold. The amount of times I wish I had this feature, I can't even begin to count. So thank you, product team, for building this. You guys rock. With the last option, I can't believe this one was still in the draft by the time I got to it, but the project tree in Viz portal. How many times you've been hunting around server looking for a dashboard and gotten 3 or 4 layers down and kind of lost track of where you are in the server? That is a thing of the past with the project tree in Viz portal. It'll be much easier to navigate through all of the different projects and folder structures in your Tableau server or Tableau Cloud using project tree in Viz portal. I feel like I just did a great pitch for a pitchman. Like I should be the next person on a infomercial. So I really do think this is going to dramatically increase the quality of life for viewers and content creators on Tableau clouds and servers everywhere. So look forward to using this. With that, we have made it to the end of our content for today's call, but I do want to give you a reminder, same place, same time next month, March 24th, we will be getting the inside track on Tableau Conference 2025, whether it's in person or virtual. We'll be having Sarah Bartlett on the first call, Alex on the second call, talking about their tips for getting the most out of your Tableau conference and getting an inside look behind the scenes of what's going on at Tableau Conference. Make sure to sign up. It's on the DataFam Discovery user group, and we'll be launching additional calls like this one after that to make sure we're bringing the latest and greatest about the Tableau products feature set to you. If you have an idea of something you want to see featured on these calls, please don't hesitate. Ping me. Let me know who you want to hear from. We will get them here for you. With that, here is a list of all of the links to all of the content we featured on today's call, including the 2025.1 solution overview deck, so you can read through all the slides and find out what's good in the product. And then